Hey y'all, Lisa Van Ness here, and I'm joined by Mr. Fountain Pen Day himself, Cary, and I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that we're going to be having a Fountain Pen Day special, and then get to know Cary and his ideas and how the Fountain Pen Day itself came about. And so from there, how did you get started with Fountain Pen Day? How did that happen?
Well, Fountain Pen Day, the history can actually be searched on Fountain Pen Network.
Okay.
It was, I believe, if I remember right, it's been a while. It was National.
I guess I should have had you say.
No, not at all. It was National Pencil Day or Ballpoint Pen Day, and I remember being on Fountain Pen Network, and it was everyone was
That's
like,
where we all started.
We all started there, but the conversation engaged in where is Fountain Pen Day? Because it was a pencil.
Because there should be a Fountain Pen Day.
Right, and we're on Fountain Pen Network talking about it's National Pencil Day or Ballpoint Pen Day, one of those. And there was a group of us that came up with the idea that we should have Fountain Pen Day.
Right.
And I remember at the time I Googled in quotes Fountain Pen Day, and nothing came up. It translated into some weird Japanese band or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And so there was nothing there. And I was on social media a little bit, just, for personal reasons. And I Googled like Twitter and Facebook, and I think Instagram was it may not have even been when that was going on at the time, but nothing was there. So I went and I got the names, and I did Twitter's Fountain Pen Day, and I did fountainpenday.com, .org, .net, and it was nothing. So we just tried to initiate it at that time. And it was coming up with how could you pick a day and what day should it be on, and the conversations went, back and forth. And I don't remember who, but again, that thread exists. And we came up with the first Friday in November because it was after Halloween, but 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, which really kind of starts the holiday spending season. Right. So it was kind of like a dead zone. And by having it on a Friday every year, we thought, you could take your favorite pen to work, kind of engage your coworkers,
like Casual Friday.
and excuse me, and you could engage those people, and then on the weekend you could get your pen club together, and then we're like, the big ideas of all the pen stores would open their doors and have the pen club in, and then maybe they'd run a sale. So it went from that to us deciding, who we would invite, who we speak to, and I remember speaking to a lot of different retailers at the time. People's lives get busy, and people slowly dropped out. And it wasn't that interest was lost, it's just that everyone had lives to live.
So those pen stores were disappearing.
And pen stores, I remember Art Brown went out shortly after. And but I had already started talking to, I think I spoke to you and I spoke to the Goulets.
I don't even remember it.
There was, if you look at it tells who started in 2012 with us. And
maybe we did, I can't even remember.
It was hard because I engaged these people. I was like the Mr. Communication, I just was like all about it, and I wanted to.
You were excited because you wanted to celebrate something that you love.
Right, and I'm like, it didn't exist. So as people dropped out, it was kind of just me as it got closer, and
like the people that were helping you behind the scenes, they kind of like fell by the wayside.
Right, and they didn't not fall by the wayside because those people, I'm sure, would you'll look up and you'll know these people, but people's lives get busy. Everyone has to remember that. You have kids, you have work, you have life-changing things, and either way, these people are big retailers that we all respect, and I didn't want to let it go, and I didn't want to say, oh, by the way, it's only like me and maybe one other person that are still doing it. That silence you hear right now is kind of like how I felt. Either way, it went off without a hitch, and everybody got involved and got engaged, and people got to meet, and it just continued. And after the first year, more retailers suddenly, got in communication and asked about it, and it just grew exponentially every year. And it spread, across the globe, and it spread into Australia and Germany and Japan and China. I mean, you name the country. There are people celebrating it.
I was trying to think of when I remember from 2013.
That was the second year.
But I may have been involved the first year. I don't know. But I do remember 2013. And then 2014, my grandson was born on National Fountain Pen Day.
See?
So I'll always remember his birthday because he was born right after midnight. And I was like, oh my gosh, because we were waiting up. Like we were at the hospital, everybody. And I said, Mike, it's National Fountain Pen Day.
There you go.
So, Fountain Pen family, and then he's
And he's born on that
He's going
day.
to be 4, so he has no clue. But
He doesn't, but we do, and you remember because
yes,
of it.
yeah,
So,
I remember it. And so I know we were already involved then.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? We're tired. I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been 5 years.
It's been 7 years now.
7 years.
This is the 7th year. I can't
right,
believe
2012, because I can't add.
It goes quickly. Like life, it goes quickly.
Wow.
And, it's just become larger every year. I know the Ohio Penn Show has been booked to be on that weekend for last year, this year, and I believe next year as well. Terry had it booked for that. And,
But he didn't really, I don't think he did it knowing, like, that wasn't like...
He told me that he had changed the date a little bit.
Oh,
He
okay.
had shifted it, and I was surprised, and it's...
Like a reflection of respect for you.
Yeah.
For the day.
For the day, right, for the day. And that was part, when I did review.
But you put a lot of energy and time into this, into
I do.
National Fountain Pen Day. I mean, and you still love pens, and you still want other people to be excited about pens.
I do.
And hopefully by having these sales, it does draw in maybe some new people or some new interest when they take, especially if those people take pens to work and
Yes.
each other introduce them.
I think it's a good way for, it gets not just the community involved and writing, and, that's why I said on Fridays it was great because we thought, bring a pen to work and engage those people around you. Let it be the day that everyone can be like, what on earth are you writing with and what are you doing at your desk? And where you can just say, you know what I'm doing? I'm writing with a fountain pen. I'm doing what people used to do every day, all day long, and this is all they did.
Before ballpoints.
Right. You couldn't speak into your phone and have it just write everything out for you. You couldn't just type it out. This is what people did.
Right.
And the retailers coming into it was a big thing because it got them to open their doors, and maybe you already knew, but there are plenty of retailers that don't engage in the community on a level
Right.
where.
Well, they're
It's
just not
not
aware of
accustomed.
social media
Right.
or aspects outside of their brick and mortar.
Yeah.
If you're a brick and mortar, and I mean, we can be guilty of this sometimes. It's hard to look past your doors in your neighborhood. And you're really busy and you're just trying to stay alive and you don't always realize what's going on. So definitely, there's definitely potential for this to grow
Right.
in that aspect for sure.
And I thought it was important because I knew people like you. I knew the story that was behind your store. Same thing with like Fountain Pen Hospital and Barney's and, all these Dromgools. I mean, all these stores that have deep history and people don't realize that they don't have a store because, well, it's something to sell. It's
Right.
not something to sell. It's a legacy of a family's history and everything that they've done for generations.
Right. For sure.
and I think, hearing stories about how people, like, I love Japanese pens. I love
Right.
Nikaya. I love, the whole rich history and the generational aspect of it, where the great-grandfather was the one that trained the grandfather, that trained
Right.
the father, that trains the son that now does it. Same thing, and like with Sailor and the way their nibs are done. And the pen stores are the same way. And I felt like so many people miss that. And I'm fortunate that I know that, especially now because I know them all. Because
Yeah, we've all over time built relationships with one another for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, because I ended up, quitting the day job, kind of. Not quitting, but it went out. However, it worked out.
You
Instead of
transitioned
continuing-
into a new phase of your life, and that new phase included fountain pens by day and by night.
Right. So now it's every day is fountain pen day.
And now
for me,
we discuss
literally.
fountain pens weekends, weekdays, all the time.
It
If we
is
don't
all
discuss
the time.
pens, we're discussing ink or paper.
Right.
Something connected to that world.
Yes, always.
So, do you get a lot of feedback from people? Do you get emails? Do you get letters?
I do. I get letters.
Like
quite
appreciation
often.
and
Yeah.
do people tell you how they got started
They
in it?
tell
or
me how they
were
got
connected?
started. They tell me, I love the fact that everybody that ever writes knows to write down the ink and the pen that they use.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Always, it is always, and it's either in the bottom left or the top right, and it's the pen I'm using and the ink I'm using, and most of the time the paper. Not always, but most of the time.
Okay.
So that
I'm
happens.
guilty of not listening to paper.
When you're a fountain pen person, you really
I
you
don't
want to
think
know
about
that.
it. It's true.
So, but in the emails come in, plenty of emails, which is great. And teachers, letters are better. But it's sometimes when it's across the globe and people don't know where you are, it's people from all walks of life. But when I get teachers and young and old and teachers and doctors and lawyers and
I know we gave some things to some teachers so that they would be able to supply.
Yes.
kids to be able to.
And I try and do that too. You know, that's why when I do the bookmarks, it's something you can send out. I do the buttons for all the shows because so many people
I have a collection.
You have a collection. A lot of people collect them, and then there are those that only have one button because they've only gotten to one pen show.
Or there's people that try to get other people to bring them pens.
And the people that mule pen show buttons back to them.
Pen shows.
Yeah.
Pen buttons for pen shows.
That's it. But it's a great keepsake.
Yes, it is.
You know, and I tell people when they ask, well, no, could I have one? I'm like, of course you can have one.
So that reminds me, I had some of your old ones, and I guess you maybe did them once a year at that time before you were into pen shows.
Yes.
And you must have sent them to me, and we had, I want to say, I was just remembering this. It was like some kind of cards, note cards. It wasn't note cards. It wasn't even business cards. Maybe it was bookmarks, maybe.
Yeah.
And we would send them out for several months before Fountain Pen Day.
Yeah.
You would ask for retailers to send them out and have them in their store, and we would have a little pile in our store.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I've ever told you this, and Krista's going to end up in this video because Krista came in on Fountain Pen Day, and Krista is a girl who worked for us online. She's known as Luke. She's in college now, not anywhere near here, but she came in and was buying some pens for me, and so I ended up hiring her. So it was from Fountain Pen Day. She came in on that Friday. We were visiting. I was looking for part-time, and she came in regularly anyway, but she was excited. She was wearing one of your shirts. And so it must have been 2015. And so she ended up being hired as a result of coming in for National Fountain Pen Day.
That's great. And to further that story, if you look up the hashtag Atlanta Pen Show, I think it's 2015, 2016 and 2017, there's pictures of her and I at the bar.
One of the few people shorter than me.
Shorter than you, yeah.
But so that was a little connection. Yeah. But you and I met at the DC show after National Fountain Pen Day started. Mm-hmm. So this is all like these really cool connections as a result of fountain pens.
Yeah.
So
it's an amazing community.
Yeah. Well, I personally appreciate what you did, and like the steps that you've taken and the work that you went through to make this an amazing special day. So I want to say thank you from all my customers and from Van Ness, because as a brick and mortar, it is hard and it is nice to have like that day celebrated, because we are just ultimately a mom and pop shop, or Nanny and Poppy. So anyway, I appreciate it, and every year we do a sale, and so this year's sale is going to be Colorverse for $30. And it will be code FPD 2018. The code for the Colorverse will be FPD 2018. Thank you for joining me. I'm super excited that I get to call you a friend, both personally and business-wise. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that you went to the trouble and created this day. And I'm also, just generally appreciative of the community that's been built as a result of. I think social media played a role. Like it kept on rolling and got bigger. Big role. It made it. I know that you do, and I do appreciate those people who use the hashtag and who helped grow what's now become like an amazing event that takes place all over at the same time, essentially. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and everyone is welcome, and I'm just glad that everybody. I'm glad that everybody really. Engages in it, and enjoys it, and brings everyone together. It does. It's such a positive thing.
Right, it absolutely is, and it's it's a great way to end your week. Like the first week of November, you get to celebrate National Fountain Pen Day. So anyway, thank you, and thank you for joining me, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to getting the chance to interview you again in the future. Maybe 2019. 2019 adventures await. Pen shows await.
The new season will begin.
I know. I can't believe it. Anyway, thank you so much, and bye, you guys. See you later.